Dear students, good morning. In the previous class, we are discussing about the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the architect of our Indian Constitution. In that previous class, the narrator described about the Ambedkar like this: Nehru, the first Prime Minister of our India, who chose Dr. B.R. Ambedkar as the first law minister of our country because he had the skills in the field of law and legislation. Dr. Ambedkar had the skills in the fields of law and legislation. So Nehru chose Dr. B.R. Ambedkar as the first law minister of our country. And then after that, when the constitution was adopting to our country or in our country, the privileges to the SC and ST were given to them and trying to improve their position in the society and also check the exploitation on them or control the exploitation on them. So we knew these things in the previous class, and also one thing we learned in that class that Dr. B.R. Ambedkar elected as the chairman of the drafting committee. So when he was become the chairman of the drafting committee, he tried to make the very efficient and very prominent constitution in the world. So that he was called as Dr. Ambedkar was the architect of our Indian Constitution. So we learned these things in the previous class. Now I would like to continue this lesson from the paragraph number 6. All of you please open your books, page number 71, paragraph, 9th paragraph. Shall we continue? Okay. And yet much remains to be done in the social plane. Very requirement of the social plane is needed according to the reader or according to the narrator here, because there will be the chance of or there will be the possible of improving the social plane. The annual reports of the Commissioner for Scheduled Castes and Scheduled Tribes list several violations of the law and several instances where, notwithstanding the statute book, members of the Scheduled Castes have been discriminated against. Still now, the people of that kind or that kind of peoples are discriminated in our country or discriminating in our country, while the law or while the rules are made through the assembly, but this thing will not be eliminated in our society. It's still arising. It's still going on in our society. So there will be the several instances withstanding the statute book, that means law book, members of the scheduled castes have been discriminated. That means the upper classes people, just they are trying to separate them. They are trying to separate them while the efficient constitution is adopting in our country. So that thing the scheduled castes have withstanding the statute book, members of the scheduled castes have been discriminated. Here discriminated means here to separate them by the upper classes people. So that is discriminated. Baba Saheb work will be truly complete only when social discrimination is completely eliminated from our society. Whether it is bad evil, the discrimination, it will be eliminated from our society, then that time Ambedkar will be happy during that time, until it is very bad to the whole nation. The writer here just tried to say about that thing here. So Baba Saheb Ambedkar's work will be truly complete only when social discrimination is completely eliminated. Eliminated means here erased. Erased means to kick out by our society or to kick out by our country. So that is eliminated from our society. Baba Saheb Ambedkar always stressed the importance of constitutional methods to achieve social objectives. So the constitution makers, they had their skill about the social objectives through the constitutional methods. So Ambedkar always stressed, always try to say about them importance of constitutional methods to achieve social objectives. Without constitutional methods, we do not achieve social objectives. So Ambedkar had his clear view regarding to that issue. In an interesting observation, he once described the methods of civil disobedience, non-cooperation and satyagraha are the grammar of anarchy. While our Rashtrapita, who is our Rashtrapita? Gandhiji. Mahatma Gandhiji is called as our nation's Rashtrapita. So, while our national struggle against the British going on, Rashtrapita Gandhiji introduced these three weapons against the British very powerfully. That weapons were here Satyagraha, civil disobedience and non-cooperation. Satyagraha, civil disobedience and non-violence. Non-violence or non-cooperation. But here Ambedkar called them as the social anarchy or grammar of anarchy or grammar of dictatorship. During these days, when we apply these methods in our society, they may cause to the losses of property and souls. So, by this way, Ambedkar called them the grammar of anarchy. Who the things Ambedkar called here as the grammar of anarchy? There were three things that were introduced by the Gandhiji while our struggling, national freedom struggling going on against the British. They were Satyagraha, civil disobedience and non-cooperation. But here Ambedkar called them as the grammar of anarchy. He called them as the grammar of dictatorship, because the reason for his opinion here is that they may cause to the losses of property and lives, human beings and or the souls. So, in this way, Ambedkar called them as the grammar of anarchy. Those were the things Ambedkar called as grammar of anarchy here. There were three things that they were: satyagraha, civil disobedience and non-cooperation. Here, satyagraha means here to appeal the British for the truth. Non-cooperation means do not or did not make help to the British while their administration in our country. And civil disobedience means not to cooperate with them. So, these weapons Ambedkar called them as the grammar of anarchy, while Gandhiji used them as the very powerful weapons against the British rulers. So, Ambedkar called them as the grammar of anarchy, because the thing is here, the reason for here, they may cause to the losses of our properties and valuable lives or souls. The observation assumes importance in the context of public agitation in the free India. It is one thing to utilize these methods in a struggle against an alien power. Our Rashtrapita used these weapons as the alien power or against the alien power. Here, alien power means against the British rulers. The right to rebellion is recognized against a government without people's consent, be it alien or national dictatorship, but not in a democracy based on free and fair elections. These weapons do not act to using in the fair and free elections. Misdirected and volatile, such agitations or movement invariably result in the loss of lives or souls and public property. So, by this reason, Ambedkar was against to these three weapons which were used by the Gandhiji against the British rulers. About 2500 years ago, Buddha had questioned the caste divisions in India. So, about 2500 years ago, the founder of the Buddhism, who was the founder of the Buddhism? Gautama Buddha was the founder of the Buddhism. About 2500 years ago, Gautama Buddha questioned the caste divisions in India. That means Gautama Buddha was opposed the caste divisions in our country. That means he was against to them. He said that do not separate them by their caste system or by their caste. So, he opposed to them. So, Gautama Buddha questioned the caste divisions in India. He said the only valid divisions are the divisions between those who are noble and wholesome and those who are ignoble and unwholesome. The Gautama Buddha only separate the people not to buy their cash, but he divided them that wholesome and second one kind of group which was prescribed by the Buddha was unwholesome. Here wholesome means noble. Wholesome means here noble, and unwholesome means here disnoble. So, our Gautama Buddha questioned the caste systems in our country, and he divided the people in two kinds, that they were one kind of people according to the Buddha, they are wholesome or noble people. And then second kind of the people according to the Buddha, they are unwholesome or the disnoble. According to the Buddha, only two kind of peoples are there, that they are wholesome or noble and unwholesome or disnoble. So these were the two discrimination according to the Buddha in our country. The Tamil poetess Auvai. The Tamil poetess Auvai had said similarly that there are only two castes in the world. According to the Tamil poetess Auvai, also there are two castes in the world, namely the charitable. The charitable means here the persons who are eligible or who are able to give. So that they are called as charitable. Who called as charitable here? Tamil poetess Auvai. So according to the Tamil poetess, similarly as Gautama Buddha, only two castes in the world. The first caste, the first group of castes in the world are charitable, that they are able to give. They are able to give. So these are the first caste according to the Auvai in the country or in the world. The charitable who give and are superior. The charitable, the person who are able to give, that they are superior. That they are superior according to the Tamil poetess Auvai. And the misers who do not. Second kind of caste in the world, that they are misers. That means who are not able to give. They are not able to give, so that they are inferior. That they are inferior. So, according to the Tamil poetess Auvai, there are only two castes in the world. That first kind of caste according to the Auvai are charitables. Charitables means they are also called as superiors. That means the persons who are able to give. That kind of called as charitables or superiors by the Auvai the Tamil poetess Avvai. And the second kind of caste in the country or in the world, that they are misers. That they are misers or inferior. Inferior means the people who are not able to give. The people who are not able to give. So that they are called as inferior. So according to the Tamil poetess, he or she divided them in a two castes, that they are charitable or superior, that means they are able to give, and second thing, misers or inferior, they are not able to give. So here by the Buddha and by the Avvai, they only found two castes in the world. According to the Buddha, they are wholesome or noble, and unwholesome or disnoble. According to the Tamil poetess Avvai, they are charitables or superiors, and misers or inferiors. So here the narrator just wanted to describe about their caste system of the world according to the Buddha and Avvai. Throughout the course of Indian history, great sages and saints exposed the hollowness of these divisions and sought to bring all the communities of India together in a creative partnership. So, by these people or by our constitutional efforts or the efforts of the great sages and saints, exposed the hollowness of these divisions and sought to bring all the communities of India together in a creative partnership. That means they were just trying to say the thing that we are all born equally and we are all equal. So they just wanted to say about that through their words. But caste, by virtue of its power structure, showed itself to be firmly entrenched. But the efficient of the caste system in our country, or the influence of the caste system in our country, the roots of these discrimination firmly entrenched. They are not able to, or they are not easily to kick out from our society, because they are firmly entrenched in our country. Under the rule of divide and rule, it was the rule which was introduced by the British rulers in our country to separate them or to separate us. So the policy of divide and rule, the British rulers exaggerated caste distinctions and divided the people of India further to strengthen their hegemony over us. For their profit, for their benefit, the British rulers just wanted to exaggerate caste distinctions and divided the people of India for strengthen their hegemony. That means strengthen their power over us or on us. It was given to two great Indians of our time, Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, to repudiate, that means to reject caste and to proclaim the oneness of the Hindu community. So, by the effort of these two great luminaries, that they are Mahatma Gandhi and Ambedkar, just tried to repudiate, that means just try to refuse the caste system in our country, and they just wanted to proclaim the oneness of the Hindu community. That means by their work, just they were tried to kick out the caste system by our society, and just they imposed or just they expressed to oneness of the Hindu community. Gandhiji did so by reminding the higher castes of their duty towards the depressed classes or depressed peoples. So, Gandhiji stressed about the duties, higher castes of their duties. Higher caste duties towards the depressed classes. So Gandhiji just tried to impose or just tried to say that the duties of the higher castes towards the depressed classes. But Baba Saheb Ambedkar did the same by reminding them to their inherent rights to equality with the higher and more powerful castes. So, Ambedkar just tried to say the things, say the rights of the depressed classes. Depressed classes about the depressed classes about their inherent right to equality with the higher and more powerful castes. More powerful castes. So, one is just try to express about the higher castes duties about the depressed classes, but another one expressed his views about the rights of the inherent rights of the depressed classes about the powerful castes or higher castes. So, Ambedkar did the same by reminding them to their inherent rights to equality with the higher and more powerful castes. One stressed the duties. Who stressed the duties? Gandhiji. One stressed the duties, another one stressed the rights. Together, who stressed the rights here? Ambedkar. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So, Gandhiji stressed the higher castes duties about the depressed classes, and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar stressed the inherent rights of the depressed classes with the higher or more powerful castes. The stresses, one stressed the duties, the other stressed the rights together. They brought about a veritable, that means very big revolution in social thoughts. By these thoughts, they just wanted to make the social equality, social equality by their rights and duties. So when this person made these achievements, when he was passed away, when he was died, when Baba Saheb passed away in December 1956, Jawaharlal Nehru made a moving reference in the Lok Sabha describing Baba Saheb as a symbol of revolt. Our first Prime Minister of our country, Jawaharlal Nehru, just said about the Ambedkar as a symbol of revolt, as a symbol of revolt, because the intention of this his saying was he fought against the social injustice. He was not to tolerate any inequality in our society about the or to the depressed classes. By that point, Nehru called Ambedkar as a symbol of revolt while he was passed away. So when Baba Saheb passed away in December 1956, Nehru made a moving reference in the Lok Sabha describing Baba Saheb as a symbol of revolt, and he said for his answer that I have no doubt that whatever we agreed with him or not in many matters, that perseverance, that means hard work, that persistence, and that if I may use the word, sometimes very virulence, that means being harmful, deadly, that is virulence of his opposition to all this did keep the people's mind awake and did not allow them to become complacent. Complacent means calmly satisfied with oneself about matters which could not be forgotten, and helped in rousing up those groups in our country which had suffered for so long in the rest. So, he just wanted to eliminate the discrimination system by our society. So, for that reason, Nehru called about the Ambedkar as a symbol of revolt. That means Ambedkar during his living, he just wanted to impose he just wanted to kick out the social inequality in our society. It is therefore sad that such a prominent champion of the oppressed and depressed in India, and one who took such an important part in our activities, has passed away. So, when he was passed away, Nehru quoted these lines about the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and also said that he was a symbol of revolt. He was a person who was a symbol of revolt, who expressed his opinion about Ambedkar here, the first Prime Minister of our country, Jawaharlal Nehru. There can be no doubt that the day is not far off when Baba Saheb Ambedkar's dream of Samata will become a reality. There will be no far away, or there can be no doubt that the day is not far off when Baba Saheb Ambedkar's dream of Samata will become a reality, because the constitution which will give the equal opportunities to the people of our whole nation. According to the constitution, there will be no chance of discrimination. but only a day or whether a day it may become that dream of samatha will become a reality. Here samatha means all are equal before the law. Samatha means here all are equal before the law. There is no any question of inequality, or there is no question of discrimination in our country according to the constitution of our country. So here there will be the possible of samatha. It will become real in our country in a particular day. So according to the narrator here, the samatha means all are equal before the law. It will become a reality one day. So by this opinion, the narrator just end of this lesson, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So it is about Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Thorough the narrator. Who is the narrator of this lesson? Sri R. Venkataraman. So according to the narrator's opinion, Ambedkar was a prominent leader of depressed classes, and during his living he just fought against the social inequality and just wanted to try to impose the equal position to the whole people of our country. So these were the achievements of the Ambedkar, who made his very beautiful or very efficient work to construct our beautiful India without any caste system or without any discrimination. So these were all the words of R. Narayanan according to the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So it is about Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So it is closed here. If you have any doubts regarding to this lesson, please ask me. Otherwise, I will finish this lesson now. If you have any doubts regarding to this lesson, no. Okay, please take the homework questions. Look at the page number 72. Share your responses. In that share your responses, fifth question, Baba Saheb Ambedkar considers public agitation in free India as unconstitutional. That means grammar of anarchy. Why? This is your first homework question. Second question, in phase number 73, share your responses. First question, what were the opinions of the Buddha and Avai regarding the caste divisions in our country? So it is your second homework question. And last homework question, that question is here like this. A sixth question, why did Nehru describe Dr. Ambedkar as a symbol of revolt? So take these three questions as your homework questions, and you will write your answers for these three given homework questions. Okay. It is about Dr. B.R. Ambedkar by R. Venkataraman. So it is about Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. You always remember about what the Gautama Buddha said about the caste system of our India, and what did the Avai say about the caste system of our India. So these two aspects are very important according to your examination. Only according to the Buddha, only two castes in the world, that they are wholesome and unwholesome. That means noble and disnoble. According to the Tamil poetess Havai, there are only two castes in the world: charitables, that means superior, that means the people who are able to give. Another kind of caste in the world, according to Havai, that they are misers or inferior, that the people who are not able to give. So these were the two discrimination or two castes in the world according to Tamil poetess Avai and the founder of the Buddhism, Gautama Buddha. Okay, so let us stop this lesson now, or let us stop this class now. Next class I will start another lesson. Okay, thank you.